4, 3, 2, 1.
For three nations, a new chapter in space takes flight.
नमस्कार मेरे प्यारे देशवासियों, वॉट अ राइड। 40 साल बाद हम वापस अंतरिक्ष में पहुंच गए हैं। मेरे कंधे पे मेरे साथ मेरा तिरंगा है जो मुझे बता रहा है कि नहीं हूँ, मैं आप सबके साथ हूँ। जय हिंद, जय भारत।
After multiple delays, SpaceX Falcon 9 has finally taken off for its mission to the International Space Station from NASA's Kennedy Space Center. In fact, it flew with 4 astronauts, which includes Group Captain Shubhanshu Shukla from India. Remember, Shukla is the second Indian astronaut to travel to space after Wing Commander Rakesh Sharma made history in 1984. Now, greetings pouring from across the country as the mission marks India's growing space leadership. But let's also go across and listen in to what Group Captain Shubhanshu Shukla's message was just moments before he embarked on his maiden space mission.
नमस्कार मेरे प्यारे देशवासियों, वॉट अ राइड। 40 साल बाद हम वापस अंतरिक्ष में पहुंच गए हैं और कमाल की राइड थी। इस समय हम 7.5 किलोमीटर प्रति सेकंड की रफ्तार से पृथ्वी के चारों तरफ घूम रहे हैं और मेरे कंधे पे मेरे साथ मेरा तिरंगा है जो मुझे बता रहा है कि नहीं हूँ, मैं आप सबके साथ हूँ। ये मेरी इंटरनेशनल स्पेस स्टेशन तक की जर्नी की शुरुआत नहीं है, ये भारत के ह्यूमन स्पेस प्रोग्राम की शुरुआत है और मैं चाहता हूं कि आप सभी देशवासी इस यात्रा का हिस्सा बने। आपका भी सीना गर्व से चौड़ा होना चाहिए, आप भी उतना ही एक्साइटमेंट दिखाइए। आइए हम सब मिलकर भारत के इस ह्यूमन स्पेस प्रोग्राम की जर्नी की शुरुआत करें। धन्यवाद। जय हिंद, जय भारत।
All right, one of the many reasons why all of us are smiling this evening while we discuss this, but let me take all those aspects across to my guest joining me this evening, Suresh Naik, ex-Group Director, ISRO. So thank you very much for taking the time out and joining us here on ET Now. It's always a pleasure when I've been in conversation with you, so I'm definitely looking forward to how you're looking at this today. But given this aspects with the multiple delays that we've seen, and today, of course, it's been successfully launched, but how are you looking at the outcome of this? What are we hoping to achieve?
Yeah, actually, the first thing is thank you very much for inviting me. And Nivedita, the question which you asked, basically, can you just repeat me? Can you just repeat the question?
So given the aspect that we've seen many challenges in this mission as well previously, today, of course, it's been successfully launched. But in the larger scheme of things, how are we hoping for this to pan out? What are the key takeaways? The larger aspect as to how each country can really learn from this particular mission.
Yeah, actually, first thing is, it is not just hiking on somebody's spacecraft. It is much more than that because it is part of our integral part of our space program, human space program particularly. That's very important. And a new era in Indian space program has started with this, I can say, because this is the first step. Our Indian astronaut who already was trained in Air Force, test pilot, then again in Russia, and afterwards in India, and again in USA. So this is, he has gone multiple trainings and he is very capable and he is the most eligible for undertaking this flight as a pilot, which is a very crucial thing. And this particular training has helped him to absorb all the nitty-gritties of the training aspect, the training facilities, etc. India has already established some facilities, but we have to modernize them or we have to update them. And his experience will be of great use to India, ISRO. This is the first thing. Second thing is, during this flight, he will get an opportunity to work on the simulators during his training, and that itself has prepared him very well for actual work on board the ISS. And on ISS, once he reaches ISS, he is going to get a on-hand experience of operating all the systems and how to use them, piloting it, and things like that. And that is going to be extremely useful for our Gaganyaan mission, which is imminent. But we should remember that we have not got only Gaganyaan mission forthcoming. Afterwards, we have got space station, our own space station, and then there is a Indian moon landing. For all this, this kind of experience is most invaluable, and he once comes back with this. In turn, he can pass on the knowledge to others also. And second thing is he is going to perform important experiments on board ISS. I want to just mention two of them. One is he is going to experiment on how a growth of a plant takes place in microgravity environment, and that is different from on Earth naturally. And how actually he is taking two particular seeds for that. One is moog, another is methi, and because these contain protein, and India has been conducting experiment on these as a future space food for our long-term missions in space, as well as tomorrow. Suppose if we establish a moon colony, then also these will be required, because we have to grow our own food wherever we go. And this we can start using this experience. Then the third thing, which is very important, is this mission. And this is immediately followed by Gaganyaan, is going to inspire the huge number of youth of the country, and that is most important. And when Shubhanshu comes back, he already has got plans to address the youth around the country and share his experience, answer their questions, and so on. So this is going to increase, there is going to be a tremendous wave of curiosity.
As you point that out, I'd have to interject you there. But of course, in a nutshell, how you're putting that across is a lot of key takeaways once he's back. And that, of course, will be used for our future missions as well. But from your experience, how critical is crew exposure to missions like this before, let's say, we build our own program? Because, of course, Shubhanshu is a decorated pilot. And how important is it that India is now sending such trained defense-rooted professionals into space? How do you look at that?
Actually, I pick up one particular thing in that respect. That is, the most important for an astronaut is to learn problem-solving skills. Okay, because in space, any type of problem can come unexpectedly, and unforeseen problems can really cause an untrained mind. So, confusion cause untrained mind. So here now he is going to get actual experience. Suppose in the 2 weeks stay there, when he gets this kind of experience, of course there is a Peggy who is the commander, also experienced one, and she are going to work as a team. Second thing is actually how to work in a team is very important. And all those things, actually, he will come back with his experience. And I look at it as the most important takeaway from this flight. The problem solving is the most important skill. And already, of course, he has got that to some extent as a test pilot, because test pilot is flying a new aircraft, which is not yet proven. And there also he has to use that kind of a skill. But this experience will sharpen that kind of a skill in case of Shubhanshu. And that is going to be enormously helpful, I would tell you.
You know, as you're pointing that out in terms of how that's going to be helping, sir, the other aspect is this is something that was spoken about before, in fact, when Chandrayaan 3 was happening, the 15 minutes of terror. And then we, of course, knew what happened after that and why that was important for that mission. In the aspect of this particular mission for Axiom-4, could you tell us key challenges or how do you look at that, just for our viewers to better understand this?
Yeah, actually, in one respect, you see, the flight from the launch pad to the stage of docking with ISS, that has already taken place, but docking has not yet taken place. That will take a little more time. And this particular journey is always filled with thrill and uncertainties. You know very well that SpaceX lost its one of the rockets right on the launch pad only in the last week. So human flight is filled with this kind of fears, and we have to take all types of precautions, whatever we can foresee and imagine, and see that human life is saved. And there are so many provisions made, like on the launch pad, if suppose something happens, the ejection of the seats take place and they land safely on the earth. If it happens in the space, then also similar thing, crew escape, it is called, crew escape system that India has already tested. So these kind of things already have been incorporated in our Gaganyaan, and our Gaganyaan is also space rated. Space rating means its reliability should be improved maximum. And there, to do that, there are various techniques. Actually, we can't go into the details of that. But one example I will give you, for most of the systems which are very critical, you have to have a redundant system. Now, that will, of course, increase the cost, but this is worth it because we don't want to lose a human life in the space mission which is carrying humans. And this is really a thrilling aspect of the human space mission. So when actually, you know very well about the Sunita Williams, actually, you know, there is so much of uncertainty of her coming back to Earth because she was stuck there in the space. And that was really, filled with terror. So these kind of things can arise in the human space flight, apart from the fact that there is a technological error. You see, just 1 week before, after the rocket problem was corrected, there was a leak in the oxygen tank that was corrected. Then we realized that there is also a problem on board the ISS, Russian module. So we cannot take off unless that problem also is corrected. So that was also corrected. And then today they are taken off. So this, you can imagine that after so many years of experience, still these problems are arising because the space business is always filled with risk. Okay, and you can only do best to optimize or minimize the risk and make your journey safe. But one learns during every flight, and we always have to have a fallback situation. So that is really the thrilling part as far as I'm concerned, because you see, our Indian astronaut is there on board, and we want to see him come back safely and with all the experience at his command. So human space flight is entirely different business than space flight without humans.
You know, sir, as you put that in a nutshell, we're always looking at the final moment, right? And we're rejoicing in that. But the story and the challenges that really happen behind, only the team would know best. But let me ask you this. Does this moment also signal that India is really ready to move from payloads to full-fledged presence in human spaceflight?
Sure. See, here what happens is, for the rocket, a payload means a satellite. Okay. And for example, in case of Axiom-4 present flight, we have got a Falcon rocket, and Dragon is the spacecraft, which docks with the ISS. And Falcon 9, after completing its job, it comes back. Actually, it is reusable mostly, and it comes back. So that kind of a Dragon spacecraft we can definitely make. Already we have made one particular spacecraft like that, and without humans, we have sent it up, and we have brought it back successfully, but not to connect to any space station or anything, because we don't have our own space station. And we sent it to space, and we brought it back successfully without any damage and as per the plan perfectly, and it landed where we want it to be landed. So that technology, we already got it, and we are sure about that. The parachute has to open while falling into the sea at the right time, and the speed should be adjusted every stage. Suddenly you cannot reduce it to very low level. Gradually, the second parachute opens, and all this technology has been proven. India is very now confident about this particular technology. And now, what really we are working on, is what separates from human space flight from their personal space flight is the life support system which is required for the human space flight. And that means your module should be pressurized, air conditioned, so that astronauts can move around in this t-shirt, and there is no problem, comfortable. And then you have to have space food, which is specific, because the weight has to be minimum of the space food. And he is taking now, I told you, moong halwa, as well as amras. Also, he's going to share the test with other astronauts, and it is extremely important. Another important thing is, this Shubhanshu was born in the year in 1984, when Rakesh Sharma had gone to space. So he has taken this particular inspiration from Rakesh Sharma, and he is so grateful to Rakesh for giving him the inspiration that he has taken some undisclosed object to ISS, and he says he is going to bring it back and give Rakesh Sharma in the personal visit to him as a gift, and he has particularly kept it secret. So,
and that's something, sir, we'll definitely be looking forward to. And I'd have to interject you there because we're running short of time. But given the aspect of how you have said it, there's moong dal on the menu card, there's amras. So perhaps and of course, you're also talking about how, they would want to look at wearing a t-shirt, and, that's why they're also looking at space being an alternative solution as well. But having said that, thank you very much for taking the time out, sharing with us what you're making of this mission, the challenges that lie, but more importantly, what that means for the Indian space missions going forward as well. But for the moment, we leave the conversation at that. And on that note, we're slipping in a quick break here, but stay with us. Lots more coming up on the other side. Don't go anywhere.